For nearly the last 15 years, the Nissan Rogue has been one of the most popular family SUVs here in America. And when the company introduced an all-new third generation back in 2020, it was one of my favorite vehicles that I drove last year. However, it had one big flaw, an underpowered engine. Well, for 2022, Nissan has rectified that because they've replaced the old engine with a new 1.5-liter turbocharged unit, giving the new Rogue about 20 more horsepower versus the last time that I drove one of these things. So in this review, Nissan, as you can see, has loaned me this 2023 Rogue Platinum, and the big question I went answered, has this new turbocharged three-cylinder made the Rogue an even better family SUV? Stay tuned to find out. So before we start talking about the exterior styling, I want to pop the hood and show you guys this new heart, because the old Rogue had a carryover version of the 2.5-liter naturally aspirated four-cylinder. This, however, gets a 1.5-liter turbo three-cylinder. It's essentially the Ultima's engine with one cylinder lopped off. Now, as you can see underneath the hood, you wouldn't even be able to tell that this engine is new, aside from the fact that it is showing these three hash marks for the fact that it's a three-cylinder. There's a VC turbo badge because this engine also has the same variable compression technology that the 2-liter turbo in the Ultima has, which means this engine can vary the stroke length of the pistons on demand to essentially give you more power or better efficiency. It is very impressive technology, although almost seems like it's late to the party as everyone tends to go toward electrification. Regardless, this 1.5-liter direct injection turbocharged three-cylinder delivers 201 horsepower. That's an increase of 20 ponies, and 225 pound-feet of torque. That's an increase of 44 pound-feet of torque. So that's a pretty significant jump, and it makes the Rogue one of the most powerful gas-powered small SUVs that you're going to find. And it all goes out through an updated version of Nissan's Xtronic continuously variable transmission. They claim they've shortened the gear ratio spread to give it better acceleration, and they've also made the shifts quicker, and it's supposedly more durable. So that's all something that Nissan says. Fuel economy has improved significantly by 3 mpg combined. This Platinum grade is rated at 28 in the city, 34 on the highway because of the 19-inch wheels. Go for a front-wheel drive model, it can actually be as high as 30 in the city and 37 on the highway. That's very impressive, almost approaching hybrid-like efficiency that you get from its competitors, which is good because Nissan still doesn't offer a hybrid version of this generation Rogue. This vehicle is available in front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive like my tester for $1,500. It'll tow a maximum of 1,500 pounds, and as this car sits, it weighs in at just over 3,700 pounds. But closing the hood, let's go ahead and talk about the styling. This vehicle was just redesigned for 2021, so it didn't really need any updates. You can see the Rogue has a much more butch, more masculine, more rugged design to it, especially with the split headlights. You can see Nissan's corporate V-Motion grille is front and center here. There's a lot of chrome on this vehicle, but it did get the new Nissan logo. This does not light up, but I think it looks significantly better. Nissan also offers a midnight package, or midnight edition package, a trim level, which is new for 2023, that blacks out a lot of the elements. It slots between the SV and the SL in the trim structure. You can see all Rogues come standard with full LED headlights. You can see the Platinum has LED turn signals, LED daytime running lights, LED low and high beams. There are fog lights available as an accessory for like an extra 250 bucks. My tester is missing that. You can see there's more chrome on the lower front skirt. And this vehicle definitely has more of a mid-size appearance to it. The Rogue is a little bit on the bigger end of the scale. Nissan claims it rides on a new architecture when they introduced this, but the wheelbase stayed the same at 106.5. Its overall length is about an inch longer than the prior generation at 183 inches long. It's a little bit bigger than most of the competitors, and you can see I really like the boxier shape. It just gives it a more rugged look. All Rogues have about 8.2 inches, or I'm sorry, 8.1 inches of ground clearance, and you can see these are the wheels that you get on the Platinum and on the SL. These are a 19-inch wheel with kind of a machined gray two-tone look. It's a fantastic looking wheel with the new Nissan logo. And then you have 235/55 R19 tires. All Rogues come with an all-independent suspension, and you get the gray cladding along the wheel arches because all SUVs have to have that. And then you can see here, you have these body color or black painted mirrors with integrated turn signals. This vehicle also has a full 360 camera. And then you can see the roof is black because of the panoramic glass roof, which I love how Nissan offers the two-tone look. This particular color is called champagne silver metallic. It's kind of like a silvery gold color. And I think it actually works. It looks great on this car with the body lines. with the chrome accents, with the black roof, and the silver roof rails. I think Nissan has designed a particularly handsome looking SUV. Now looking at the rear, you can see the taillight design hasn't changed. You have a combination of LED and incandescence with the incandescent turn signal, LED taillights. And then you can see here, new Nissan logo with Rogue spelled out, and then it says Platinum all-wheel drive. No visible exhaust tips, as you can see. And then you have a rear bumper trim that kind of tries to look like a skid plate. Now, opening up the cargo area, the Rogue is on the bigger end, which means you do have more space than some competitors. Nissan says you get 36.5 cubic feet of space back here with those second row seats up. The upper trims will also have their divide and hide in our cargo management system, where you can kind of adjust these panels. You can create different areas where you can block off stuff. You can create storage compartments. If you fold down the second row seats, Nissan says it expands the cargo capacity to 74 cubic feet of space, which is among the largest that you're going to find in the segment. So let's go ahead and move on to the interior of this 2023 Rogue Platinum. The first thing I want to show you guys is the key fob. You can see Nissan finally has a new fob with the new Nissan logo. It's kind of just an update of the old fob, which I think is a nice update. I like the size of it. I like the feel. It has the usual buttons, lock and unlock, open the trunk, panic, and then it also comes with remote start from the actual fob, which you can see you can easily do from the actual key fob. There's no indication that it turns on from the fob, and I don't have access to the Nissan Connect app, so I won't be able to tell you if you can do it from your smartphone or whatnot, but most likely that is the case. Now, as you approach the door handle, you can see Nissan doesn't do a sensor on the back. You have to touch the button again to unlock the door, but I love this color combination of my tester with the champagne silver and the tan leather that you get. You either get an option of tan or black. This is the upgraded semi-aniline perforated leather seats that you get only on the Platinum grade. You can see among the best looking seats in the segment, I'd say. Beautiful look, love the quilted diamond pattern and the stitching, the contrasting stitching, the two-tone design. It's very Infiniti-like in here. It looks very luxurious. The seats themselves have an 8-way power adjustment with 2-way lumbar support with 2-person memory on the driver's side. They are 3-level heated. The passenger is a 4-way power seat, no memory, also heated. But Nissan sadly doesn't offer cooled seats. That's something that competitors offer, so I'm sad to see that it is lacking cooled seats. You can see the door panel has this beautiful two-tone look with these the tan leather. This is a soft touch injection molded plastic. This is kind of like an aluminum look trim. It's dark graphite in color, but I believe it's just a plastic. You have these silver painted door handles. Everything feels pretty high quality. Although I will say that only the driver window is one touch up down. Every other window is not one touch besides the driver, so I don't really like that. I think they should have just been all one touch, considering this is the fully loaded Platinum. Down here you can see it's hard touch plastic, and then my tester has the Bose stereo system, the premium sound system, which does sound good. It's about on par with other competing vehicles. Now getting inside, you can see the step-in height is nice and easy because of that 8.1 inches of ground clearance, and then my tester also has the illuminated side sill plates here that are part of a dealer accessory. And then if I go in and shut the door has a nice solid sounding thunk. So again, giving us a really great impression of quality. Now, once you get in, you can see the start stop button is right here at the lower part of the dash in the center. Start the vehicle up and you can hear, you probably won't even be able to tell it's a 3-cylinder, although I will say the idle is a little bit raspy. It's got these hydraulic engine mounts that help to quell vibration. It's fine. And the engine sound itself is interesting. It's almost like VQ V6-like in the noise, which we'll talk about later on when we're out during the driving scene. Now, in terms of the rest of the interior, you can see the dash has a soft touch injection molded plastic on the upper end. My tester also has a premium package that rolls in a heads-up display, which is nice. You have real leather and stitching on this lower part of the dash, which again looks beautiful with the two-tone look. And then this right here tries to look like wood. It's totally plastic with a wood look to it, but it feels totally smooth. So once you touch it, you can tell it's fake, but it looks nice at least. The Platinum grade is the only trim to get the fully digital 12.3-inch instrument cluster, which I love the way it looks. You can also go in here and change the actual look of the display. When you push this, you can change the meter view and you can show like a really weird looking tach and speedometer, but it shows you a bigger display here in the center. So that's all pretty cool. You can see the steering wheel has the new Nissan logo. Love the flat bottom design. It's got paddles on the wheel for the continuously variable transmission. And you can see here it's got a manual tilt and telescoping steering wheel. Offers a good amount of adjustability and range. The horn oh my God, it sounds awful. So I really wish that Nissan had put a more meatier sounding horn. You got some of the new turn signal stalks and switch gear. There are a lot of unused buttons over here, but this is to control the Nissan Pro Pilot driver assistance tech, and then you can also turn on and off the heads-up display, your dimmer controllers over here, and whatnot. And then over here on the center stack, you can see this has the upgraded 9-inch Nissan Connect infotainment system, which includes, as you can see, wireless Apple CarPlay, but not wireless Android Auto. You have to connect a connector for Android Auto for you Android users out there. The screen itself is fine. Although it is starting to look a little bit small as competitors move to a 12-inch display. You can see the Nissan system, when I go back to that, hasn't really changed. It's relatively easy to use, starting to be a little bit slow at times. It does include a factory embedded GPS, which you can see works just fine, nothing super special. I've rarely used the factory GPS in these modern cars, but you can see here adjusting the interface is relatively straightforward, but as you can see by the lagginess of it, it could use a software update, which Nissan has in some of their newest vehicles. Now down here you can see it's got tri-zone automatic climate control. It's one of the few vehicles that offers that. It has a separate rear climate for the third row or for the second row passenger, and that's because this model here has the premium package for $650. It includes the triple zone climate control, which is cool. You have a heated steering wheel, 1 level, and then 3 level heated seats. You can see there's a button here which could be for cooled seats, but Nissan sadly doesn't offer cooled seats. You can see the vents are pretty straightforward. The Platinum grade, from my understanding, is the only trim that offers a wireless phone charging pad. You have a USB-C and a USB-A charger, and then this square electronic shifter controls the CVT. You push this little trigger button, kick it back to go to drive, forward to go into reverse, and you can see there's the full 360 camera with their moving object detection. It's got rear cross traffic alert, blind spot monitoring, it has automatic braking, all that technology that you expect. The graphics and camera resolution is fine. It's about what I expect for the segment. Down here you can see there's a little bit more storage, which is nice from this floating console. You have some aluminum look trim here, and then your drive mode selector is here. You can see the Rogue has a few. It's got an off-road mode, a snow, automatic, eco, and then a sport mode, which the sport mode is, or automatic is probably what it defaults to every time. Most of you are probably going to leave it in that mode anyways. There's no four-wheel drive lock indicator here, so it's just automatic all the time. And then you can see here, this center console opens up in a split way. It's pretty deep. My tester also has the accessory interior lighting, which you can change the color of this interior lighting in the cup holders and in the door panels. It looks pretty decent at night. The seats, like I said earlier, these are the semi-aniline quilted ones. They are comfortable, supportive, love the way they look, just wish they were cooled. Over here you can see the glove box is bin style. It's stamped, not lined with felt, but it's a very large size. I love the auto dimming rearview mirror with its frameless glass. And then the map lighting you can see is incandescent. Really disappointed that it's not LED. Nissan also offers a big panoramic glass roof, which you can see has a power retractable sunshade. And you can also open up this roof if you'd like, only over the 2 front seats, which you can see does let in some air. And you can also open it up completely there, where it does let in some nice light. So overall, the front seat is definitely nice. I love the tech in this vehicle. I love the space. I love the visibility. And I also love the seats. But let me go ahead and show you guys the back seat, because this is a family vehicle, so you probably want to know what that's like. And you can see here, I have to unlock the door 1 second. The Rogue has always had a pretty big back seat. In fact, I love how large the rear door actually opens. You can see this is a much larger opening versus something like the Toyota RAV4. This allows you parents out there to get a child seat in here pretty easily. You can see the beautiful leather kind of continues back here where it's the semi-aniline. It's the perforated leather. The seats themselves, they do fold down, and they do have a slight recline function. You can see when it folds down, it gives you a completely flat cargo floor area, which is nice. And then once I get back here, you can see the space is around 38.5 inches of legroom, which at that number, it definitely makes the Rogue one of the more roomy entries in this segment. In terms of the materials, you can see this is hard touch plastic, but as you can see, the Rogue is one of the few vehicles that also offers the rear window shades, which is nice to see. Beautiful leather along the door panel here. And then in terms of amenities, you have rear air vents, you have heated rear seats, 3 levels. That's included as part of that premium package, along with the own set of rear climate controls and 2 USB charging ports, a C and an A. You got 2 storage pockets, and then you can see here there's an armrest that folds down and gives you 2 cup holders. And then the panoramic glass roof comes all the way into the third row, or into the second row here. This does eat up into your space for headroom, but overall, if you need a big back seat that you can easily put child seats in, the Rogue is going to be among the best in the segment. So here we are back in the third generation Nissan Rogue. Now, when I first had a chance to drive this car about 2 years ago, it was actually one of the most impressive new Nissans that I'd driven. This is, remember, kind of in the beginning of Nissan completely rejuvenating their lineup, and they've been doing a good job. The Rogue deserves credit for being an excellent family SUV, and my biggest complaint with the 2021 model was the fact that it lacked a turbo engine and it lacked a hybrid engine option. Well, now for 2022, Nissan has rectified one of those flaws because we are driving the 2023 Rogue with its 1.5 liter variable compression turbocharged 3-cylinder engine. It's actually the Altima's engine with 1 cylinder lopped off. So it has a turbocharger with a variable compression ability, so it can change the compression ratio based on if you want more power or you want more efficiency. But let's go ahead and see what we can get 0 to 60 wise in this vehicle. We'll go ahead and it's in sport mode. We'll brake torque it, build the boost up. Surprisingly smooth for a 3-cylinder. 0 to 60 in 8.07 seconds. So that's not a quick time. It's not the quickest time that I was expecting. I was hoping it'd break into the 7-second range, but it's pretty close. And I never got a chance to test out the prior engine, but I'd probably say that was closer to 9 seconds. So this car probably having a 1 second improvement or half a second improvement perhaps in the 0 to 60 time is perfectly acceptable. We'll see if we can do better than that later on during the driving scene. But this engine, what's interesting about it is, for a 3-cylinder, it actually is surprisingly refined. It only sounds thrashy at idle, but it's got these hydraulic-filled engine mounts, and it does a great job at just soaking up all the nastiness that you get from an odd displacement of cylinders. This time I'm not going to brake torque it, we're just going to floor it here. It's so lethargic off the line, but you can see the CVT was updated this year, and it has even shorter ratio spreads, 8.65 there. That's with it going slightly uphill. So again, the 8.07 is still the quickest time that we've gotten. The new Rogue with this engine, you know, most people who buy this car, they're probably not even going to notice it, but what you are going to notice is the sound that this 3-cylinder makes. It definitely sounds better to me than that thrashy lump 4-cylinder that it replaced. And it almost kind of sounds, dare I say, 6-cylinder-esque. It has, I mean, technically a 3-cylinder is half of a V6, so it could be like the half of the VQ engine, but surprisingly, it has a nice, smooth, kind of pleasing growl, and you're not going to hear that noise in any other vehicle in this segment because of this unique 3-cylinder. And I have to say, you're never going to notice the variable compression part. This vehicle does feel like it has turbo lag off the line, and it's probably because of the CVT that it tries to wind up and get it into the proper ratios. CVTs just aren't really good at launching. Except the Toyota's CVT with its actual physical first gear. But the thing about the Rogue, however, the Platinum grade, this is actually my first time driving the Platinum grade, it is tuned very, very softly. So if you're looking for a sportier SUV, which, let's be honest, most people in this segment aren't, there are better options out there. But the Rogue is quiet, it's competent, it handles just fine. The all-wheel drive system goes about its business, applying the torque where it needs to be applied. It actually is spinning out the back tire there as I put my foot down. What's interesting is there's this weird shudder that I can feel above 4,500 RPM where it's in the drive line. I'm not entirely sure why I feel that shudder. It's a little alarming at first, but I've been noticing it's doing it the whole time that I've been driving it. So let me know in the comment section below if you guys own this vehicle and you also notice that weird shudder. But it goes away after you let off the throttle, but just kind of keep that in mind. It's not really the most pleasing feeling. But let's go ahead and try it one more time. I'm going to brake torque it this time. It actually spun the front tires there. That's cool. 7.83 there. So there we go. That broke into the 7s. Thank God. So again, not the quickest accelerating vehicle, but it is going to be fast enough for most people, especially when you're looking at the fuel economy gains, because this engine is more efficient by 3 mpg versus the old 2.5. And in the real world, what you feel is very satisfying mid-range torque. Again, I'm feeling that shudder through the drivetrain. It's really, really odd. But what you feel is a very satisfying mid-range pull, and that's kind of what you're looking for, because it feels faster in the real world and in daily driving. And again, that's what people are gonna notice, they're gonna want to feel that extra wave of torque that the 2.5 naturally aspirated engine just kind of lacks. Now, in terms of the steering feel, it's numb, it's dead. The suspension is very, very softly tuned, so you get a nice ride quality. Visibility out of the Rogue is also excellent. You can see out of the front pretty well. These pillars are on the thinner side. Nissan's Safety Shield 360 with their pilot assist is also here, or Pro Pilot Assist is here, and it works fairly well. The rear view visibility is also good, but Nissan doesn't offer the digital camera rearview mirror on this car, which I think would be a nice addition. I like how the Platinum grade has the full digital 12.3-inch cluster, and you have the 9-inch touchscreen here with the wireless Apple CarPlay, but a wired connection Android Auto. And then the seats, these are Nissan Zero Gravity NASA-inspired memory foam front seats, and they are definitely among the most comfortable in the segment. I really like these seats a lot. I love the way they look. I love the heated aspect. They get really hot, same thing with the heated steering wheel, especially on chilly days, but sadly, Nissan still doesn't offer cooled seats on this car. I think that's something they should consider offering as well. But overall, in my weeks of the testing, I actually have been averaging around 30 miles to the gallon in mostly highway driving. Now, that is a far cry of the 34 that Nissan claims, 28 in the city. It's a decent MPG figure, but you know, if Nissan would just do a hybrid version of this car, it would do even better, considering like do a hybrid of this turbo engine, because this is the most efficient gas engine in the segment by like a pretty good margin, by 2 or 3 mpg, which is significant. And it makes a difference if you guys don't want to go hybrid, but you want the extra torque of a turbo engine. You're going to want to go for something like this. I question the longevity of it, but Nissan says that the engine, you know, has been tuned and tested for durability, and the transmission has been updated this year. That's always been a concern. But, you know, I have to say, the Rogue was already one of my faves, except for the old engine, but this new engine, improvement. It's not the sportiest, but it is one of the most interesting looking. It has one of the nicest cabins. It has really good amount of interior space, and it has decent tech, all for a price that is reasonable as long as you keep the options in check. So after spending a full week with the 2023 Nissan Rogue equipped with that new 1.5-liter turbocharged 3-cylinder engine, I have to say my likings about this car that I found back in 2021 have only gotten better because of the new engine. The Rogue is still an extremely well-rounded family SUV. It has a ton of space on the inside. It has luxurious appointments, especially if you go for this fully loaded Platinum grade. And it has most of the tech features that buyers are going to want, save for, in fact, the center screen. It is getting a little bit small at 9 inches, and it also lacks wireless Android Auto for you Android users out there, and over-the-air updates. I'm really surprised that Nissan didn't put the larger 10.5-inch display that you get in the refreshed Altima, but that's probably something they're going to save whenever the Rogue actually gets styling refreshes, which are probably coming for the 2024 or 25 model year. Now, my gripes with the Rogue are, well, minor. The driving experience isn't the sportiest, which technically doesn't really matter in this segment. The engine and transmission had this harshness that I felt at higher RPM that I'm curious to know if you guys also have noticed, for those of you who have driven or owned this vehicle. And if you guys want the fully loaded version, the new Rogue has gotten pretty darn expensive. This model here, the Platinum, starts at around $38,900. That's including all-wheel drive. You can get into a front-wheel drive model for around $37,500. The Rogues start at around $27,400, so the Platinum is around $10,000 more. I will say that it includes a lot of features that I wasn't expecting to find in a vehicle like this, like heads-up display, rear window sunshades, panoramic sunroof, which again all makes it for a much more premium environment. But my tester here, with a couple of accessories that it has, plus the $1,200 destination charge, which I think is super steep, came in at $43,100. 43 grand is a lot of money. You could get a RAV4 hybrid or a CRV hybrid for about the same price or cheaper, and those get even better gas mileage. They have more torque versus this 1.5-liter engine. And for those of you who want to go electrified, the Rogue still doesn't offer a hybrid option, and I really wish that Nissan would hurry up and deliver something like that, because I think it would do well. The prior generation offered that, borrowing tech from Toyota, and I think Nissan should consider doing another hybrid version of this, because it's only going to increase their sales. Now, speaking of which, the Rogue has consistently been the third best-selling model. Nissan sold around 285,000 of these last year. It was behind the RAV4 and the CRV, and with this 2023 model, with the new engine, I suspect that Nissan should be able to continue to keep their third place finish. I'm not entirely sure it's going to be able to surpass the RAV4 or the CRV in terms of sales, but this is definitely still a solid entry if you guys are looking for a compact family SUV. Well, with all that said, hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the 2023 Nissan Rogue Platinum. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.